Safety! 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 I was out on the highway just loving my job, feeling blessed with the presence. Buckle up, Bob. After this run, I'll get home to the ones I love. Drive safe, Dave. Got the passion to get the job done. Spreading the news, sharing their views. Solid as brick. Here comes Rick. You've been safety struck.
All right. You know what? We're working on that intro there. We got to match up the music. It's not ready, but I wanted to give a little teaser out there to the Safety Struck. Music Man Mike trying to rock it home to each and every one of you. Listen, it's about safety here no matter what. One thing that we always focus on is safety. You know, one of the cool things about the show is, and it's not the people that are just on the show. It's those of you that call in, those of you that email. It's a lot of our guests as well. We saw it yesterday with Andy, with the product developer for the electronic vehicles for Volvo. It's crazy, crazy, crazy to see how vulnerable each and every one of you make yourself on the show. You open up, you talk a little bit, and you know, and even Music Man Mike, you saw that right there. He was dressed up. He had staged that. For those of you that don't know Music Man Mike, listen, he took about 3 hours of his time to get this done. He had the lights out. He was looking at camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. He was digging it. He was getting down, had the bandana on. He didn't come in dressed that way. He had to go change. And he had to have like a week's notice to put that song together as well, to get ready. And he had it written out. I wish I had the playlist. He was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to camera 1, then camera 3, camera 2. He had it all prepped out. Just again, cool stuff. Listen, it's Friday. This is Distracted Driving Month. Distracted Driving Awareness Month. And we've been focusing on the awareness, right? Understanding when you are distracted. We know what's going to happen. You're out there and you're out there for 5, 8, 10 hours at a time driving. You can't help but get distracted. What we want you to do is recognize when you are distracted. No different than when you're driving down the road and you're a little too close. You're following too close. Listen, there's a lot of bad habits that each and every one of us have. Four-wheeler, big truck, it doesn't matter. We have bad habits, but what we want you to do is recognize that you're following too close. That's why we share these videos. After that 7:30 mark, we share the videos, we go over safety. We're not just showing you things so you can point at that truck and say, man, what was that guy thinking running that yellow light, that red light, following too close? Because each and every one of us do that. And no different than an athlete, no different than anybody else, we must learn from videos. We've got to take the time to make sure that we see things the right way, that we recognize it, and then that action has to happen. My gosh, I mean, how many more lives have to be taken, right? That's the way I look at it anymore. When I think about picking my phone up, and listen, I have an 8-mile drive to work. I still want to grab my phone on 8 miles. I can't imagine the temptation you have out there driving for 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours. But when I watch videos from Shelly, when I hear Kenny Ray's story that we heard last week or the week before, and these folks that are going out talking about distracted driving. Kenny Ray goes out to trucking companies and helps them out. And his daughter was killed as a 16-year-old distracted driving. Shelly, she was on the show, and she was on the show back last month. We shared the video again this week of her conversation. Coming home and seeing the lights out there. And she was kind of even distracted herself when this had happened. But to come home and to find your 8-year-old, 9-year-old daughter laying out, out in the road and the lady that hit her was driving 20 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour. She just got distracted. Hits her daughter, kills her daughter. That was, I think, 12, 14 years ago, and she still thinks about it every single day. She goes out and tells that story every single day about that. I mean, how many more stories do we need before we recognize that these things that we speak about, they're real? How many more lives have to happen, on hashtag In the Street Texas? Again, I'll keep talking about that because once again, I'm going to say it because it keeps happening. Inside of Texas, the state of Texas, on Texas roads, a pedestrian has been killed since November the 11th for 21 years in a row. Every single day, there's been a death on a Texas roadway. Now, that's not that those are bicyclists, right? Those are pedestrians. Those are cars. Those are four-wheelers or big trucks. Construction workers. How many more does it take before we realize that these distractions are real, and the distractions that we speak about as we go into this weekend, right? Boy, what a distraction weekend this is. And you guys are like, well, come on, Rick, it's Good Friday. What are you talking about? It's Easter. What kind of? Well, here's the distraction: is that for you, the truck driver. What happens when you can't make it home right now? What happens when traffic's backed up, when that shipper today doesn't ship out? Maybe they're closed and nobody went back and checked to make sure that they were open on Good Friday. Maybe they're closed and now you're stuck. Maybe they ship out late. Maybe they have somebody in their office that gets sick as well. Maybe there's somebody in that warehouse that's sick. Maybe they're having product shortages like everybody is still, and they can't ship that product out because they're waiting maybe on another trucking company to bring that load in so they can get that product on your trailer. And they hold you up 3, 4, 5 hours. And now you're tired. And you got to get going. And you're too tired, and maybe you're fatigued a little bit. But it's Easter. If I don't make these extra 400 miles today, there's no chance I make it home for church on Sunday. There's no chance I get to watch my grandson, my granddaughter hunt them Easter eggs on Sunday. And you push it, and you push it. Your distraction, you're thinking about that. Situation awareness. You lose that ability to understand the situation that's around you right now. All of a sudden, those construction workers that are working, you're not so concerned about driving that, the speed limit through their workplace. That's their place of work that you're driving through, and you're not focused on that right now. Your mind is just going crazy. If I don't get these miles, how am I going to see this? I know I'm tired, I'm worn out right now, and I should pull over, but if I pull over, I can't make it. Do you fall asleep? Do you lose that distraction? Do you get drowsy? Do you veer off that road? Do you kill somebody? Do you kill somebody? Are you now somebody else's story that they have to tell forever? And it's not just the truck driver, it's you out there, the shippers that watch this show. Heck, the people in this office right now. Those distractions, what's in your mind, that cell phone, that trying to get somewhere because where I have to go is so much important, so I'm going to pass on the right. And we see these crazy four-wheelers, these crazy cars, the crazy actions that you're taking out there on the road. We see that. And do you realize that somebody else's life could be in jeopardy? And again, in Texas, over 21 years, every single day on a Texas roadway, somebody's been killed, gone forever. Somebody's mom, dad, brother, sister, friend, grandpa, grandma, one of your friends. It's going to happen again today unless you stop and unless you recognize where you are. Hey, listen, it's we're going to do it this way today. We're going to start this day out with a prayer because, we want to make sure that we're focused. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Lord, I just ask that you be with me today as I get ready for this show. Get my mind prepped for it. Be with me and Jorge Bonilla as we get ready to converse a little bit just about life. Ask you to be with our drivers out there, the four-wheelers out there, to get them home safe this weekend. And I know it's every day we want them home safe, but help them put these distractions away today and tomorrow and Sunday. Help them recognize, Lord, when they are just being distracted, when they're worn out, when they're tired, when they need to get off the road. Help us out. Give us some luck. Put your hands on that wheel when we aren't ready, when we're not focused. Continue to be with this crazy world, the leaders of this country, the leaders of the world. Help us just love one another. It's in your son's name we pray. Amen. Man, we have a great show today. We have Jorge Bonilla. He's coming up next. We're going to talk a little bit, and I know y'all are ready. You got Jorge, you got your phone out. You're ready to swipe right. I know it. Everybody wants to swipe right on Jorge Bonilla, but that's not the kind of swiping we're going to do. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on. We're going to talk a little border talk. We're going to talk New York. Everybody wants to know what's going on around this country. You know what? What's going on right here at home? We got to be able to fix some of the stuff that's going on. Hey, listen, we'll be right back. We're going to play it one more time because it's time for a safety truck. So if you're going to watch it again, whether you want to or not. Music Man Mike, take it away.
I was out on the highway just loving my job, feeling blessed with the presence, buckle up Bob. After this run, I'll get home to the ones I love. Drive safe Dave, got the passion to get the job done. Spreading the news, sharing their views, solid as brick. Here comes Sir Rick. You've been safety struck.
All right, and Jorge, I'm just bringing you on in here. Jorge, I need to know, talk to me about this video with Music Man Mike, a little safety struck. I can see you there just cracking up, man. Isn't it pretty cool, huh?
I love it, man. There's nothing better than to start out the morning with a great laugh. I mean, it was not laughing as in funny, but it was laugh as in really, really cool. I really dig you guys' energy. You guys are rocking it, man. You guys are really doing well, and I'm very proud of you.
Hey, Bonilla, thank you, buddy. Hey, I got this. You know what? We're going to do this for our special guest. We're going to send you a mug. So we'll get with you after the show. We'll get that address. You're going to get you a BCB Live mug. And everybody, awesome. You got to use it. And Jorge, it holds other things other than coffee, too, just so you know.
Cool.
Hey. Yeah, you know what? You just lost your man card there, Jorge. Hey, you know what? It's been a crazy, going on 2 months now. We've had the invasion in Ukraine. But let's talk a little bit, Jorge, home. Right here, we talk about security. We talk about, what's, just the craziness going on. Man, here it is in New York. We have the shooting in the subway, and Jorge. So here at security, we have all of these cameras around the place. Just what's wrong? I mean, I hear security, and we talked about this on the show. Just because you have cameras, just because you think you have checks and balances in place, or maybe at one point you did. Jorge, you still got to make sure that your cameras are working, that people are following up, they're looking at the cameras, they're looking at your processes. What were your thoughts when it came to the, nobody seeing this happening, or just the lack of, say, the cameras on the footage from the, from the shooting?
Yeah, it's complacency is the first word that comes to mind. I mean, it's you go through your role every single day, check in, you check out, you want to do your 8 hours or 12 hours or 10 hours, whatever it is that it is. But during that time, you're not, us as security professionals, we have to be on our game. We have to be on our A game every single day. It's like as soon as you leave the house, you flip on that switch, A game, and you got to get in there, and you have to get your mind frame correct, and really be on your tippy toes, and have your sensors on at all times, and looking around. And I think complacency, unfortunately, is the mother of all screw ups. And
yes,
this is a great example of it.
So Jorge, I'm going to dive into what it is you do, because, I look at it on the transportation side. I'm kind of a root cause person. Many times when something goes wrong, it's as simple as we got complacent, usually is what happens on that. Jorge, in what you do, how do you go inside of a business and help them put the processes in place, or make sure that that they are doing what they set out to do many years ago? Because most companies believe that they had a process, and all of a sudden it quits working, and nobody catches it until something bad happens. Jorge, what do you do, or how can you help us in this country, a business that's striving, that needs that help? How can you step in and give them a hand and getting them a little bit safer?
Yeah, the businesses need to understand. I mean, the main thing in the business, particularly in the private sector, right, is how we call it. Is the education. Education. People need to understand. People need to learn about security. And by that, I don't mean take a whole week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 months like I did of courses to understand what security is. In a day, with the proper tools and the proper education, you can understand what to look for in education. Companies need to learn also that they have a place where they work, and they have to secure that area based on not only with cameras and weapons and cards, key cards to get in and out, whatever, but the people. The people, starts with the people. The more they're educated about security and how to safe keep not only the buildings, but the material, the resources that they have. The people that what they work so hard for to get, like you as a company owner, you should understand this. You want to make sure that your space is as secure as possible. It's like think of it as putting a large secure mantle over your people and over your company, and hopefully over your trucks as well. By talking about safety and security, you can do that.
Yeah,
that's the most important thing.
Yeah, and Bonilla, on that, I'm going to say, and this again, I think what you do is so critical now. And when what happened in New York happened, I immediately thought about you and how companies, even trucking companies, say example, when bad things happen, we never wanted it to happen. We just, somewhere down the line, we weren't trained. Maybe, and I don't even think we tried to cut costs. You brought up a word, education. Bonilla, you've gone through many years. You've gone through training after training after training, not only for yourself, but training others. I think, the first and foremost that we've got to learn to value training, Jorge, and sometimes that means you've got to go outside. You can't do it yourself. You got to reach out to somebody like you, a professional, to bring them in the house to show us not only how to train us, but where our faults are at.
Right. And as soon as you bring in a consultant to point out the different deficiencies, people will say like, whoa, okay. And they immediately understand that they've been doing it wrong the entire time, even though they got some training before. Changing a few things here and there immediately allows them to understand, a little bit more about security, just a little bit, take it to the next level, and understand. And it allows you mostly is to stop being complacent, because again, the complacency kills. And have those, the sensors up at all times, periphery, and be looking out for each other. It's important, and the education is just it gets you there.
Yeah, I tell it. I've always said this at the business, and it comes to this: there's nothing wrong with sucking as long as you know you suck, because then you can fix it. I think, to me, that what you do is kind of the same thing. Many companies out there, they just don't realize that they suck at that, because that's not what they do. That's usually not those people that are sitting at the lobbies or sitting at those corporations. They're doing, they're producing widgets, making hamburgers, that's what they do. They don't do security. And to think that we can do that on our own, my gosh, that's I go back to what happened right there in New York, and it's just another reminder how important it is, to reach out to others that are better at a job than you are. Jorge, when you go in and you look at a company, I know you're looking for the complacency. You're probably looking at the training. Are you also looking at items that, say the cameras or processes? Are you helping them with the whole schematics of the of security?
Sure. The equipment, those are the main, the very perfect resources that you require in the company that allows you to get a handle on what's going on. Obviously, what happens on the outside of those cameras is what's important. If the cameras are not pointing in the right direction, then it never occurred. And if the cameras are not working, then it never happened. So the people, by staying alert and staying alive, they can help those cameras to confirm, the activities that are going on, illicit or otherwise, within your company.
Yes, and I'll speak to that, Jorge, because again, you think you have an owner of a company, you think you have everything in place. You feel like you have the cameras, the forward-facing cameras, and all the trucks, and you've done that. At one point, they all work. All of a sudden, 2, 3, 4, 8 of them stop working, and nobody's checking it. And you know what? And then something bad happens. You don't have that camera feed. The whole time now. I'm missing out on unsafe acts from, say, a driver out there driving. And it's not that any of it was by intention. It's the process. It's the things that we just don't think about. That again, I'm going to say that's where you've got to come in and say, hey guys, listen. You know what? Your customers, your drivers, your people, you're missing out on some things right here. Hey, look where your cameras are pointed at. At one point, Jorge, and I bet you've seen that a million times, at one point those cameras were phenomenally placed, but then the tree grew up and now you can't see anything, right? You've got to move the camera.
Right. No, that's true. It's it's in this situation, and we have a saying in the military: fire and forget. Fire and forget is basically an individual who's been trained, who's been doing something for such a long period of time, and immediately you just give them the left and right limit, and the individual's out and doing the thing. So it's fire and forget. You let them go. You cannot do that with security. Security, you have to make sure that everything's working at every time. It's going 100% every single day, even Saturdays and Sundays. Because if not, then there again, there's that word again. Complacency. You put all your effort and put money. You invest money onto an individual who you believe will do a great job for you and securing your assets. But then at the same time, then you think, okay, well then it's done. We just don't need to do anything else anymore, and that's not exactly it. I mean, we have to trust but verify. Trust and verify. No matter what, no matter who it is, and it's a main issue.
Yeah, Jorge, we brought you on here many times, and we've always focused, on what's going on, say, at, in Central America, or all these wars that are going across all over the place. But, we have our own battles inside this country. We have border crossing issues throughout. We had Sheriff Lamb on there, and I appreciate that. Good friend of yours. I appreciate that connection there. Jorge giving us Sheriff Lamb. But you have what happened in New York, and you have all of these things going on all over the place right now. Jorge, I know that your expertise goes over to Central America, but I'm looking here at our homeland right now. Is there a way, or is that part of your business as well on that security level right here in our United States of America? If a company needs that assurance, if they question, are we doing it the right way? Are you the man? Is that what y'all do, or do we have to wait and go create a business over in Panama?
Well, it wouldn't hurt for you to create a business in Panama. But nevertheless, our company dedicates himself to providing that type of security blanket. Through training, it's just basic training. Nothing. Nobody has a PhD here, and we provide 6th grade level words to provide you a great vision of what security is, and at the simplest level, so that everybody can understand. But it's important that here in our homeland that we understand that, because we are not doing everything that we possibly can to secure our country, and then we also criticize those who are doing their job in securing our country, and that's not good either, because that doesn't give us the backing from our own people of what we're trying to do. And but at the same time, I mean, the most important thing is to give them the understanding of what they need to do, and on a daily basis, from the time they leave the home to the time they come back home.
Hey, Borden, when we started up the conversation this morning, you talked about being aware when you leave work, when you're going into work. My question: so we speak a lot on the trucking side about situation awareness, knowing what's going on around you. I don't think it's much different than what you would, than what those people need to understand as well. I mean, let's face it, in our industry or many industries, the post offices, for example, we have people that have came in and shot the place up. And I just think that maybe it's a supervisor, maybe it's a frontline manager, maybe it's just it's another employee. There's things that we need to hear, maybe some triggers to say, you know what, something's wrong with this person. Is there any insight you can give us on that? These little, being able, or, even having the courage to raise your hand and maybe go to your HR director and say, you know what, I heard so-and-so on the phone, and they're just they're just not normal. They're not who they've been, say, the last month. Something's going on in their life. Is there any insight you can give us on that?
Yeah, absolutely. In the military or in the government, really, we have a saying: see something, say something, right? And that goes. I think that moniker really started in the intelligence side of the house, because to catch spies, specifically those here in the States who are working against the United States or international countries. So it's the same thing, the same concept that you can use anywhere in the world, particularly here in our own homeland. Where we can identify, and it's you don't want to go down the road of stereotyping, right? You don't want to stereotype somebody, but you want to be able to stay aware and be able to identify some key movements or some key changes on certain individuals that perhaps you've known for a long time, or perhaps you've known for even 6 weeks. It doesn't matter. If you're trained on identifying certain behaviors is the word that I was looking for. Certain behaviors, then you can just bring it up, and then you allow the professionals, the HR folks, the supervisors to talk to the individual, identify what the problem is, et cetera, et cetera. It's hard because also when an employee is going through a tough time or something like that, they don't want to just open up to anybody. No. So you have to be strategic about this and how you approach this type of situation, because you also don't want a lawsuit on your hand. Yeah, and the government is totally different. If there's an issue, they immediately call counterintelligence. Counterintelligence does an investigation, and whatever findings they have, it's over with. Here in the private sector, you have to be very careful, but at the same time, that behavioral identification is key, and it'll save lives.
Jorge, listen, I want to thank you for being on BCB Live, and you know what, I know you have your specialty, but Bonilla, I'm going to bring some business to you because I think we need it right here. I think all of us need to take a deep dive look at our own business practices. Listen, guys, I'm telling you that what happened in New York, Jorge, that could happen dang near about anywhere. Right? I mean, we're not ready for these things. We don't have the process. We haven't had experts like yourself come in and set this up. Not most of us haven't done that. Maybe the military folks, without a doubt, better. But companies across America, we wait till it's too late and then we do something. And Jorge, I just think we can't wait anymore. We've got to act today.
Yeah, I mean, and this is what we always preach to the people. People always react, reactionary. Something happens, okay, let's go investigate. Let's go, plug the hole. Let's go fill in the gap. Let's go talk to people. Let's go see how this happens. And then, of course, they talk about how they can mitigate it in the future. Why don't you talk about how to mitigate it in the future now?
Yeah.
It's offensive operations, right? You go out and you go, you talk to key people in the police or in the security sector, in your area or in the state. If you're serious about what that is, not only security but also security. You talk to key people, you liaise with those individuals so you can get more information, more resources. But it's imperative, because if not, then you're not doing everything you can for you and your people and your family.
All right, Jorge, I appreciate you being on BCB Live. Hey, leave us with, I'm Jorge Bonilla. You're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Hey, I'm Jorge Bonilla, and you're watching BCB Live, safest station in the nation.
Thank you, brother. Be good, Jorge, and stay safe out there, okay?
You too, brother. Take care.
Hi, this is David Dover, also known as Drive Safe Dave. You are watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Safety is what you want to talk about, and safety is what you want to be every single day. That's what we're here for. We're here to make it better.
The industry needs BCB Live so that it can find new and inventive ways to bring safety to the forefront for every single person out there on the road.
You got to be prepared to stop. And when you look at that and you understand the situation that you're in, you got to know that it's going to change. You got to expect it to change, and you can't run those lights.
You can watch BCB Live weekdays, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So what are you waiting for? Follow and subscribe to BCB Live today.
Good Friday morning to you, and happy Easter, everyone. Hey, welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. You got Double Check Dale here and Sir Rick running the boards for us. We're going to talk some weather, and then we'll take a little break and be back. The weather today. Let's start with some winds. We've seen a lot of winds yesterday afternoon. They were up in the upper Midwest. Right now things look pretty quiet. Of course, in the morning it'll get rocking a little bit later on today as we take a look at the wind gusts as they start to build. And again, we're seeing the winds, the higher winds are going to be in the higher elevations out west. Are seeing some winds pick up, some pretty steady winds through north central Texas and central Oklahoma. And then again, up in the Ohio River Valley, we're seeing some stronger winds pick up there. And then again, up in the Dakotas and northern Minnesota, they are getting some snow up there, so there could be some blizzard conditions up in that area. As we go this afternoon, we see, the greens have changed a little bit to the reds, and the reds means we have some higher gusts. Again, you can see where the mountain ranges are out in Colorado and New Mexico, and definitely the higher elevations are seeing the winds there. Are seeing some stronger winds right here in the north central Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. But look what's happening up here in the Ohio River Valley and along the Great Lakes area. Really starting to see the winds intensify through north central Ohio, up into Pennsylvania and part of upstate New York. So we'll just have to keep an eye on them. As we go into Saturday, we're just going to take a look at noon Saturday, see what's going on wind-wise there. Panhandles of Texas, North Texas, and most Oklahoma seeing some stronger winds. The gust will be picking up a little bit there. But the winds out in the east have definitely subsided on Saturday, so that's some good news, looking good there. Let's take a look and see what we have going on for precipitation right now. And here is the current map. We are seeing some snow out here in Wyoming and parts of Idaho. Looked at some weather or traffic conditions this morning. I-80 out in the Evanston, Wyoming area to, I believe, Rockport is closed. They've got some winds and some snows going on out there. Seen a little bit of a snow band up there along that South Dakota-Nebraska border, a little bit in the higher elevations. Do have some thunderstorms working here in Kansas and Oklahoma and Arkansas. But right now, just not a whole lot going on. But as we kick into this afternoon, this evening, or let's go this afternoon and see what's developing. A little bit stronger storms here in southern Missouri, northern Arkansas, and then down in the Houston area, Louisiana, seeing some storms going on. A little bit of rain up in along the Great Lakes area where all that wind was. As we go to this evening, the storms start to intensify a little bit as the evening hours, and now we're seeing most of Mississippi, northern Louisiana with some thunderstorms, potentially some pretty severe ones down there. Chance of localized flooding. Again, southern Missouri is also seeing it, and now Illinois, Indiana are starting to see a little bit of the rain. And as we go into the overnight hours, this is 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. Look, we got a really strong thunderstorm up there in Arkansas, central Arkansas. Northern Mississippi and most Alabama and Tennessee are looking at some storms tomorrow morning, the early morning hours. Some of them potentially, severe and dangerous with thunderstorms and some very high winds. And as we move through Saturday, by tomorrow afternoon, we have some rain going up in the upper New England states, stretching through Pennsylvania, New York, all the way up into Maine. But those storms are lingering down in Louisiana, southern Mississippi, along that Gulf Coast. And so be aware of that if you're down in those areas. Temperature-wise, I think we have a very, very mild weekend coming along. Today, around 4 o'clock, Dallas will be at 80, freezing temperatures. We don't see anything below 32 until we get way up north in Wyoming and South Dakota. So everybody else is in the 40s, 50s. Like I said, Texas in the 80s. Florida's got a nice day in the 80s, and Phoenix at 86. Saturday, much the same. Very, very mild day on Saturday. Temperatures are warming up even a little bit more. The freezing temperatures recede just a little bit further north. And then on Easter, what we got for temperatures on Easter around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we're looking pretty decent there. Again, Houston, Texas is going to be very warm, 80s and 90s. Most of the other rest of the United States will be, very mild in the 60s and 70s. So, enjoy your Easter weekend, everybody, and we will take a short break.
This segment has been brought to you by Utility ProWear. Utility ProWear manufactures high-quality, ANSI-certified, high-visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with the Teflon fabric protector, Utility ProWear gives you the added benefit of providing a barrier to liquids, dirt, and grime, keeping you cleaner longer, brighter longer, and therefore safer longer. Get your high visibility apparel by going to utilityproware.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount.
Safety! 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 I was out on the highway just loving my job, feeling blessed with the presence. Buckle up, Bob. After this run, I'll get home to the ones I love. Drive safe days, got the passion to get the job done. Spreading the news.
Hey, welcome back to BCB Live this morning on this Good Friday, the Friday before Easter. We're going to talk a little bit of safety. This week we've been talking about, it is National Work Zone Awareness Week. And so we've really been talking about work zone safety, how to approach work zones and to make sure we get our speeds down. I've said it just about every day. Did you know that there are 700 fatalities in work zones each year? Ladies and gentlemen, that's just too many. We've got to do our part as professional drivers, as a professional industry, to get that streak down there, to get that number of fatalities down there. One of the most common crashes in a work zone is a rear end accident. And so just got to make sure as we enter them that we're being very, very aware of our following distance. Create a little bit of extra space between the vehicle in front of you, because if we're in an active work zone, that means workers may step out. They may have to move around some equipment or stuff like that, and so somebody may have to step on their brakes, stop short, and that extra space will really afford you, a little bit of extra time in there to make sure that we're doing it safe. So, slow it down and make sure you increase your space as you go through the work zones. So, Rick, can we take a look at some videos?
Yeah, let's look at some videos. And hey, don't forget as well, Dale, I love what you're doing with the safety look. I love the vest that you're doing. And don't forget, anybody, if you're needing some of that safety wear, you're wondering out there, am I being seen? Go to Utility Pro. Look at their website. Some great clothing. Some great, it feels good. You know what? Chicks dig it as well. I want to make sure you know that side. And not only do they dig it, you can get a 20% discount. Go to that, type in BCB 20 for your discount as well. And Dale, listen, when we're out there nighttime, daytime, we've got to do more to be seen as well, especially when those in that construction zones. When we see them, that should also remind us to slow it down a little bit.
Absolutely. Rick, I was coming into work this morning and it was dark and there was a truck broke down. As soon as I saw it, the four-ways were on, and then I saw the driver get out. He had the safety blaze on. How nice was that to know that there was somebody out moving around that vehicle, and I could see him making himself seen and making it safer for himself and for people around him. So yeah, get a safety blaze or some safety wear when you get out of that truck, especially when it's dark, you're broke down, doing your pre-trip, your post-trip. Throw that safety blaze on, make yourself seen.
Dale, have we ever talked about intersections being dangerous here? Ever?
Maybe a time or two, Rick, and it goes back to that, to the stale green light, being prepared to stop. And, the light turned yellow there. We had 2 or 3 seconds. I watched this, and I think we had 3 seconds from the time the light changed to yellow to where we actually went through it, to where we crossed that white line. And I'm looking at this one, and I could say I get it. If I'm the driver, I'm looking around. There's no traffic around. It's pretty dead. What the heck? What difference does it make if I go through that? But it really comes down to, one, it's the law to stop. Two, it's about habits and values. I mean, what do we do when people are not around? It'll be the same as what we do when people are around. Just because you don't see traffic there doesn't mean that you may have not missed something. Motorcycles, we've seen speeding motorcycles. So you just got to develop that habit, no matter what, people around, traffic around, that you stop for them. That's what the law is, and that's the safest thing to do.
Yeah, we've heard it from growing up as kids, playing sports. You play how you practice. This is kind of goes into the same thing. Hey, folks, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to stress on what Dale just said there. These habits are what we're showing. These habits are what we want to cure. You've been doing them for many years. Most of you have been driving. Let's face it, Dale, when we think about our drivers across America today, one of the big issues is that they're all at that age nearing retirement, which means a lot of them have been driving for 20, 30, 40 years. And bad habits have been created because they didn't have the technology that we have today. Nobody would ever see it. They couldn't see it themselves. Folks, what we're asking you to do is to take these videos and use them to make your driving a little bit better. It's something that we've got to do. Hey, we have another one here, and as we start talking about habits, well, here's one here. You know what? When we let that traffic kind of pull away.
Yeah, I mean, love this. We are in a high traffic area. Obviously, we got 3-4 lanes of traffic going on. And notice this, that all the traffic from this driver is pulling away. You cannot have a rear end accident if traffic is pulling away from you. It's about that speed and space management. And then when the driver sees debris in the road and recognizes that other traffic is slowing down, he has plenty of space to slow down, slows down, keeps that space. But just a great habit there. We talk about, you hear Buckle Up Bob say it, I'll say, just because the speed limit is 65 doesn't mean you have to drive it. If you drive a couple miles an hour slower than the prevailing traffic, it's going to pull away, and it helps you to keep that space. It helps you to own that space in front of you.
Yeah, and you talk about the space. We love the space. It's hard to have a rear end accident when everybody's pulling away from you. Look at the difference in this video and the next one, Dale.
I know we're in a hurry to get around and to get close, and speed, to build the speed up is tough, but man, just look how close we are. If some hidden debris or something's on that roadway, that car blows a tire, fan belt, whatever, and that car hits its brakes in a hurry, we are all over them, folks. We just have to back off. And it's like I said, it's about those habits and values. I know when I drove, I had some bad habits. It would have been interesting for me to have a camera to see what other ones that I had that I didn't even realize. And I think that's the thing a lot of times is we don't even realize until we see it. Like I said, Sir Rick, that, what we're doing, that how close we are, or, that we didn't come to that dead stop, or that light was yellow longer than we thought. So it's just an opportunity to watch these videos and for us to learn from them and say, hey, yeah, I was a lot closer than I thought I was. I need to back off.
Yeah, just some bad habits, or habits, they're bad habits. I mean, there's no other way to say it. Smoking's a bad habit. You need to stop smoking. This is a bad habit. You just have to get out of this. You can't do this. And we can talk about things in front of the vehicle and all that, but you know what? There's also people out there today that will take a chance on getting hit to get money. And all this driver has to do is push their brakes on, say something happened, we rear-end it. This person with the video camera, when they rear-end this vehicle, they are the ones at fault, no matter what. Unless you can go back and prove they stayed, all of that. Meanwhile, though, you're still guilty right now. You're going to receive that ticket, that insurance, and all of these things go into that word preventability, because now, even if this is a staging, what has to happen? The trucking company is going to spend money on attorneys, money in the courtroom, downtime galore. Dale, dadgummit, these are the things that we've got to think about. These have got to be the reasons we back it off.
Yep. We look at this, and even drivers run about 55 there. So the speed's, probably where the speed zone is and everything. But at 55 miles an hour, we're going 80.667 feet per second. I'm really sure that we're not a second away from the back of this vehicle.
Well, and plus it takes us, a second to react anyway, right? So by the time we react, it's done.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot that goes into the reaction time. Then you hit the pedal, then the air has to get to the brakes, and everything goes with it. I mean, that's a second, value-driven driving will teach you that if you watch it. I mean, it's in our Lubin Nugget thing. So if you want to go back and watch it, I mean, it'll give you, the breakdown on what it takes to get stopped.
All right, we got some lane changing going on here. One thing we talk about is maintaining that lane. Dale, here it comes.
Yeah, and again, it's a merge point. I recognize we got to get up to speed. We want to get into the right lane, and we want to make that merge safe as possible. But here we go. There's one. Here's two. And I'm pretty sure we're heading to that third one right there. We're changing a lot of lanes at once. We have to own that lane and change lanes very methodically. So if somebody's coming from the blind side or from something we didn't see at a high rate of speed, that we don't cut them off, that we just don't go over there. So it's so important to maintain your lane. Do lane changes one at a time and be very methodical. Signal that you're going to come over. Each lane change takes longer than 3 seconds. You should have the turn signal on at least 3 seconds before we change. And so again, it's just about that habit of just doing it slow and methodically, the right way every time.
Yeah, and then Dale, we're going to look at this next one. This is some drafting as well going on. Following too close, platooning. None of this should we be doing, right? None of it should happen.
No, and one of the great things about this is that as one of the professional drivers, recognizing what other professional drivers are doing and should not be doing, and that's drafting. Just look how close they are. Again, if they're at 55 miles an hour, they're way too close. This guy's never getting stopped in time, and he's just going right into the rear end of that other truck. And so it's great to see that other drivers are recognizing other traffic around them and showing us videos of it, of what not to do. The driver in this one has some great space, keeps the following distance there. Very good, nice video here. And again, something we can learn because we have habits. I know I have habits. Probably aren't aware of them, but if I got to watch it or somebody showed them on a video and stuff, it's just something I could learn from and then go back out and improve from it.
Yeah, it's and this is where I think we've seen some differences across the country in what we've done, and because I think the driver that sent this video in to us, the company that did, listen, they have noticed something probably from the films that we show, and now they recognize that because we've been talking about it, this vehicle's following too close. I'm going to get a picture and send this in. These are what this is the beauty of films. This is how you learn from other folks. So when you see it on the road, you recognize that, you know what, that's not safe. I love these things. I love when we see videos from drivers that send them for others, because that means they have now began to notice what's going on around them and the unsafe habits around them, whether it's a four-wheeler or a big truck or a bicyclist. They see these things. And Dale, I'm going to say kudos to you and to our safety professionals on BCB Live, because y'all are making a difference in what people see out there on the roadway.
Well, you know, and thank you for that, but the drivers are too, because they're taking it to heart. They're tuning in, they're watching this, they're learning from it. They're going, hey, yeah, there are ways to improve. This is what I need to do, or this is a good approach to it when I see something like this happen. And again, you know, watch this driver doesn't get any closer to the vehicle in front of him, actually backs off probably a little bit, you know, just gets away from, clear the chaos, you know, just stays away from that bad situation.
Hey, Dale, we're going to share this last one. This is the last one you sent me. It's a Ford video here. I'm going to let you talk through it, and here it comes right now.
Yeah, this one comes from Samsara. This is what we're looking at, Samsara. And so when I see this one, when they send it to safety into the DMs, it's actually got up how close, what our following distance is. This whole video, we are 0.8 of a second away from the black vehicle or the black car in front of us.
Where do you see that at? I'm just curious. This is the beauty of technology, right? When we see some of this newer technology, I see the speed limit 63, 64, 65. Where do you see the distance at?
Unfortunately, when I save it, it doesn't save.
Gotcha. Okay.
Save the following.
So when
distance.
but if I were watching this video and it's telling me if I'm driving this vehicle right now, are you telling me it's letting me know that I'm too close?
Yeah, it is talking to him or beeping to him, and it sends a little message that says, "Hey, you are following too close. Following at this distance, you know, increases the chance of accidents and other stuff." And so there's some in-cab coaching that goes with it. As soon as this driver makes this lane change, it goes away. But like I said, it's 0.8 of a second, so we get in our mind, you know, you think, you know, how close am I actually? Well, here's what 0.8 of a second looks like.
Wow, yeah. I mean, you try to count it, you can't get quite to 1001, 0.8 of a second. I see what you're saying on that. And here it is. It's so there's technology out there. And again, as we talk about the beauty of technology, means that we have to use it, folks. We've got to use it to help us identify when an unsafe act's happening, and then we have to react to. We have to have action. If that camera is saying, "Hey, you're getting ready to kill someone," that, you know, hey, you're going to kill somebody. You're 0.8 seconds. Why would you stay that close? And I think we've got to hear these messages, you know, a little bit different, whatever it takes for us to do. For me, picking up this phone when I'm driving, it took me and it takes me to remind myself, do you want somebody else to tell your story? And that's what keeps me, and that's what kept me these last day and a half from at least recognizing it and putting it down. What's your story? What are you going to do to remind yourself to back out of that situation? Because what it's telling you is, if we believe, and if you believe that it may take you about a second to react, well, if this vehicle in front of you begins to stop, something happens, they blow a tire, bad things happen, you're not going to be able to react possibly quick enough to stop. That's what it's telling you. And Dale, I mean, I think we've got to learn to hear these messages to us, right? Because when it's too late, it's too late.
Yeah, and you know, and you're right, Rick. We got to learn to hear them, see them, and not take them personally. I mean, it's just to grow as a driver, to get better. I mean, it's not a personal attack on anybody. It's just, hey, this is the safest thing. We're just too close. You need to back off, no matter how good a driver you are. If you're less than a second and something goes wrong, you're not getting stopped. I mean, you can be the best driver in the world. It just doesn't work that way. So it's you know, it's an opportunity to get better. It's not to ever beat anybody up. It's just that continuous improvement that we just want to see.
Yes, sir. Exactly. And just great videos, great topic. You have a spoiler alert. I mean, what's on tap for next week?
Spoiler alert for next week. Oh, there's a lot going on next week. You know, we're starting to get into putting some of the Samsara units in, and so there's going to be some stuff there. So hopefully we'll get to see and share some more of these videos. But I think, you know, I haven't decided what the safety topic for next week is, but maybe when we get back on for a safety struck a little bit later, we'll talk about that.
All right, everybody, listen, make today the safest day ever. make a difference. React and act. When something's telling you to back off, whether it's your mind or it's the technology, hey, follow it. Follow your gut. Follow the logic that goes with it. It's never too late until it's too late. And folks, we've got to help in these streaks. Whether it's in Texas, Oklahoma, across this beautiful country that we live in, make that difference to stop. Make that decision to put your phone down, to get that distraction out of your head, or to just get off that road. Be safe. We love you. Take care of yourselves. This is BCB Live, Dale. And what is this?
The safest station in the nation.
God bless y'all. Y'all take care of yourselves.